Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege.
What up? This your boy Chris Cross checking in. This is the TCMMA podcast. Now you might be wondering, why is it so dark? Well, we're in between thunderstorms out here, trying to get it in. The studio nearly blew away about 30 minutes ago. But you know what? The show must go on. The show must go on. That's the bottom line, because there's a lot of good topics going on right now in the UFC. So let's circle the news real quick and then break it down further. Sean Strickland dismisses possible Robert Whittaker clash after UFC Saudi Arabia. I will wait. And didn't I tell you that these matchups are going to be important? As soon as Khamzat pulls out, the middleweight title fight gets announced, and now the whole division is on hold. The entire division. Yuri Prochazka addresses Alex Pereira's leg kicks ahead of UFC 303. I understand it's not okay to absorb a lot. Well, at least he recognizes that, because that could be a problem for anybody. It just sets up the KO punch. Daniel Cormier warns Yuri Prochazka about facing Alex Pereira at UFC 303 rematch. And, I mean, everybody should be warning Yuri, right? This is a tough fight. But I like the fact that it's on short notice. You don't have to weigh on the fight for months and months. It's like, hey, you're fighting in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Let's get it on. We'll get back to that. Also, ranking the 8 undefeated fighters in the UFC by their winning streak. Interesting. So the best 8 undefeated fighters in the UFC based on their winning streak, which I would assume that the more wins you got, the better, because the winning streak, unless you're just counting the UFC winning streak, so we'll dive into that in a moment. And a big reason we're here today, Robert Whittaker mocks see you soon job from Khamzat Chimaev. You can't even get into any country as he's mocking the visa issues. So we're going to get into those topics right now. So the most interesting one to me to start with would be the 8 undefeated fighters based off the winning streak. Number 8, Bo Nickel, who's been dominant in his brief UFC run, right? So Bo Nickel is number 8 because he just has 5 fights. Well, 6. He's 6-0 as an MMA fighter. Then you got Umar Nurmagomedov. He's 17-0, but 5-0 in the UFC. So it seems to me the UFC record is the main thing, because number 6, Tatsuro Taira, is 6-0 in the UFC, 16-0 overall. So I'm believing that Khamzat's not going to be number 1 here. He can't be. Shavkat Rakhmonov, number 5. This guy is 6-0 in the UFC. So a lot of 6-0 fighters overall, 18-0. That's incredible. And this one surprised me. Number 4, Tatiana Suarez has beaten strawweight champs. Right? She's 7-0 in the UFC. That's incredible. She needs a fight for a title immediately. She's 11-0 overall. Khamzat Chimaev, number 3, because he's just 7-0 in the UFC, 13-0 overall. So he's got 7 UFC wins. Think about that. Ian Gary is number 2 because the guy has been very active. Also 7-0, but 14-0 overall. So one more win than Khamzat gets him to that illustrious number 2 spot. And number 1, of course, Ilia Topuria. This guy is also 7-0 in the UFC, like Ian Gary, like Khamzat, but he's number 1 because he has a title, and he's 15-0, tied with Ian Gary. So that's a nice list to put together. I liked the fact that they explain that it's based on the winning streak, right? So you understand the order. It's not necessarily the best 8 undefeated fighters, although you can make a case that it's very close to that, but it's those with the best winning streak. So the best winning streak for undefeated fighters, 7-0. That's why you know when these guys come in with undefeated records, it's not going to be long before they take a loss. It's hard to go very long. I mean, that's the bottom line. And since we're on Khamzat Chimaev a little bit, Robert Whittaker mocked him, saying you can't even get into any country. And Khamzat is running into all types of issues because of what's going on in Russia, right? I believe he has a Russian passport. He can go to Abu Dhabi, but going anywhere else is very, very difficult at this time. It's a low blow by Robert Whittaker, but one that he feels a need to take, and he has a right to take because it's part of the discussion. The fact is, Khamzat cannot fight really anywhere else. I thought that maybe he could fight in Australia, but it just seems that that passport is going to be looming over him. It's going to cause problems in the near term. And I think he's trying to get citizenship in Abu Dhabi, if I heard that right. I read that right. So he's trying to make some moves, but it's just very difficult at this point in time. Speaking of middleweight division, Sean Strickland dismisses possible Robert Whittaker clash after UFC Saudi Arabia. Why? Because he already fought down against Paulo Costa. He beat him, and he feels no need to fight down again. When you're number 1 or number 2 in a division, you only need to fight down once. You're not fighting down a second time. You're only fighting up. Colby Covington mastered that by fighting guys like Tyron Woodley, etc., well below him in the rankings, but now he gets to fight up next, and who's up? A title shot. So Sean Strickland is not budging, and I warned you with this in this division. Matchups are going to be key now. Robert Whittaker is going to have a hard time finding a fight above his ranking. He just is. Now, Daniel Cormier is warning Yuri Prochazka about facing Alex Pereira at UFC 303 rematch. When these two dudes get locked in there, it is absolute fireworks. Yuri Prochazka was having success, and then Alex Pereira seemed to figure him out. The outside leg kicks, I want to know whether or not Prochazka has made the adjustments that will allow for him to defend that weapon a little better, because if he can't, Pereira will limit him in terms of his movement and KO him again. And he's telling this to ESPN, right? And Yuri Prochazka also came out and addressed the leg kicks, because that's what everybody's talking about is, you know, the style, the kickboxing style of Alex Pereira, sort of like that of Sean Strickland. Obviously, Adesanya's got a little bit of that as well. It really makes it tough for opponents to come forward because they constantly got that lead leg. They can just snap and kick you at any time. And it keeps fighters off balance. And when you're off balance, that's when you find yourself in a very tough situation, in a situation where you might, in fact, get KO'd. So he's definitely going to have to address the leg kicks much better than he did in the first fight. But again, as we said yesterday, during the prediction show, right? He's going to be better in this fight. He's going to be better. No doubt about it. But is he going to be that much better that he can win the fight? I'm saying no. But I do believe it's going to be a really good fight. And I think Prochazka is going to look like at times like he may win the fight. Like it's going to be that close. And yes, he'll get better. He's going to watch film. He'll address the leg kicks. He'll look like a different fighter. He'll have power. He could even get a KO victory. I mean, it's very possible. As I peek into the poll we put up yesterday, 80% say Alex Pereira wins this fight. 20% for Yuri Prochazka. So the fans are still believing that this guy, in terms of Yuri Prochazka, cannot get the job done. The people believe that Alex Pereira is going to come in here and get a victory. Now, if you say a finish, that 80% probably drops to 65%. If I had to guess, I say 2 out of 3 people believe that not only Alex Pereira wins, but he also gets the finish in this fight. And that's where I'm not so sure, because I do believe that Sean Strickland is going to be better in this fight. It's going to be more of a challenge. Or Yuri Prochazka, is going to look much better in this fight. He's not coming off the injury. He's not going to be as tentative. Yeah, he's still going to be off balance because everybody's off balance against Pereira. And even when Adesanya KO'd him, Adesanya was in trouble against the fence And then it was just like out of nowhere, he had enough, and boom, 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 it's over, right? But he still had Adesanya off balance. And he will have Yuri Prochazka off balance. So Yuri's going to need one of those patented spinning back fists, a big straight-on KO. I don't think he's going to the ground and finishing him that way. Could you get Pereira to the ground and pound? I mean, we haven't really seen it, right? So there's just a lot of tough angles of victory. Narrow pass, if you will, for Yuri Prochazka to win this fight. And that's why I made the prediction that he wouldn't win this fight. And in sticking with the dude list, especially in these big fights, right? In sticking with the dude list, we got to go with the guy that we got ranked higher. That's just the way this thing works. We got to go with the guy that we got ranked higher. And we got Pereira at 4. And we got Yuri Prochazka at 12. Look at Ian Machado Gary there at 20. We got to redo this because Ikram Meliskarov has to drop. He's got to drop out of the top 20. Right? Because a lot of this is what we believe is going to happen in the future. Right? And so when you look at number 1, we still believe Khamzat is destined to win the title. He's just got to get healthy. John Jones, number 2, for obvious reasons, very easily could be number 1. Number 3, Islam Makhachev, right? He's destined to keep winning. Alex Pereira, 4, destined to keep winning. Sean O'Malley, destined to keep winning, but he's got to get past one more. Leon Edwards, for sure, should beat Bilal Muhammad. Shavkat Rakhmonov in the welterweight division is right at number 7 below Leon because that's the most likely guy that's going to come up and challenge. And then number 8, Adesanya, is always there because he seems to lose the belt and then get it back. And it's kind of like, I think that's what's going to happen. Ilia Topuria is in the top 10. He's not even one of my favorite guys, but you just got to respect him. I mean, he was number 1 on the undefeated list because he has the best winning streak at 7-0. He tied Ian Machado Gary with 15 wins, but he also has a belt. So you got to give it to him right now. He's the best undefeated fighter among winning streaks, on a tie with Ian Machado Gary, and the tie is the fact that he's got the belt. So that's what's going on today in the UFC. And forgive me if I'm talking fast. I'm just waiting for the next thunderstorm to rain down and force us out of here. So I want to make sure I get to the best topics that are going on today, and that's it. But the middleweight division is on hold. It will be on hold until Duplessis and Adesanya win. And man, if Adesanya wins, it's definitely going to be on. It's definitely going to be on hold because he's not going to be in any hurry to fight Sean Strickland. Yeah, there's some revenge there, right? There's definitely some revenge. He definitely won Sean Strickland again, but he's not going to be in any hurry to face Sean Strickland. He wasn't even in any hurry as a contender to face Dricus. But there's enough there that these two guys need to get in the octagon. And it's Dricus' opportunity to end it for Adesanya. Like, take away the opportunity to fight for a title. Possibly ever again. Because Sean Strickland beat him, right? Alex Pereira's gone. So a rematch there for a potential title doesn't seem like that's going to happen. This is why Adesanya was taking his time, because he knows the importance of this fight. He has got to win this fight to remain relevant in the title picture in the middleweight division. So you're going to see the best Adesanya you can see. You're going to see a highly motivated Adesanya, and it's going to be interesting. Don't be prepared to see Sean Strickland for 9 months to a year, because this guy is now in the waiting game for a title, and the champions fight not very often, obviously. So no matter who wins this fight, they're not going to be in a rush to fight Sean Strickland. The UFC will be. The UFC will be pushing this thing for December. But that's going to be interesting to see if they can make that happen. But these are the big topics right now. In the UFC, I had a chance to watch The Ultimate Fighter last night. You remember we did the live watch party for like the second episode, and then I realized like I'm not going to be able to keep up with this thing, and it's not really popular enough to give up an episode every week to do it, right? You can just look at views and know that's not, but it is a good one because I really like Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso as coaches. I know it's not Conor McGregor or Michael Chandler, but they're doing a really good job in the fight, in the lead up, the training. They're taking it really serious, and it's exciting. And of course, you got UFC 303 Media Day going on. You got UFC 303 Embedded. I mean, there's just all types of stuff to watch right now in regards to the UFC. If you haven't seen Fight Inc. on, gosh, what is it on? I forget the name of what it's on, but you can look that up. Fight Inc. 3 episodes. Really, really good behind the scenes look at the UFC. And I might have to go back and see if there's any more episodes. I just saw 3. I don't know if there's a new one each week or what's going on, but I did see the first 3, and it's really interesting to see what goes on behind the scenes. But listen, that's going to wrap it up today. We had to get out here in and out quick, right? Trying to jump in here between thunderstorms, and the next one is getting close. But I'm glad we're able to get on here and get something done today. Of course, we will be back if there's something urgent on, Thursday or Friday. Usually those are our off days. And then we reset for the live watch party on Saturday night. So make sure you join us then, right? UFC 303 main card, join us then. We will be live. For now, this is your boy Chris Cross. I hope you have a great day and God bless. As always, peace.